What's up, everybody? This is Connor and Joshua with Chamber One Tactical. Today we've got the Shadow Systems XR920P, which is a newer pistol that's very innovative to the duty size market. So there's a lot of cool features on this gun that we're really excited to get into with you guys. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to start off with is this gun has actually been lent to us by Franklin's Gun Shop of Athens. They are sponsoring the video for today, so we want to thank them. Franklin's is a one-stop shop for all your hunting, shooting, fishing, pretty much anything with sporting and outdoors. They're there for you. So they've got everything you would need. So go check them out if you're in the Athens area at 3941 Atlanta Highway. The first thing we want to talk about with the gun itself, obviously we like starting off with price point because that is very important to most of you guys, that this may be the next gun you buy and you need to know how much money you need to start saving. So this gun, do you remember what the price point is on it?
I believe the MSRP is going to be around $1,200, okay, but you might find them cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely not a cheap gun, and especially with it being a Glock-styled firearm, a little bit higher than what you would typically see on something like that. So, you know, like I said, there are a lot of features that we're going to go over. The first being the sights. So you guys know we're very particular on our sight setup. It's a big deal for a lot of people. On this gun, what you're going to get is a blacked out rear that is a pyramid style, which Joshua and I both like to shoot, especially on duty guns. And then you're also going to get a front sight with the tritium filled and a greenish yellow, depending on how your eyes see it, ring around it. So definitely like the sight setup on here. They're metal, so they're already coming in nicer than a standard Glock, so that's nice. And I like shooting with that style sight setup.
Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what we like. Blacked out rear, something real bright in the front, which is also a night sight in the front, which is really nice. So. Yeah. And then, of course, it does come optic cut, so that obviously you can put a nice little red dot on there, and that makes it even easier because we do like putting our red dots on guns.
Yeah, and honestly, I preferred, we could have put an optic on this gun to do the testing with, but Joshua and I actually found that we shot very well with, which, you know, that's what we've always shot, iron sights for the longest time, but this setup allows you to really shoot fast, especially because you're not having the entire target taken up by your sights. So the sights are pretty good on this gun.
Yep. And then just moving on to the slide, it's got a lot of cuts all over it. And it makes it really aggressive in a good way when you actually come on top of it and get a grip on it. It doesn't slip. It's not very smooth. So it makes it very easy to actually go back and rack that firearm. Yeah. And then, of course, as you guys saw, there's a built-in compensator to this firearm. Which is really nice. It's also got a really cool barrel design, which I like.
That spiral flute.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. And what's cool about this compensator is that it's actually a quick disconnect. So it's got its own little method on how it disconnects. You just basically slide the plate off, and it comes straight off. Yeah. Whereas a traditional compensator, you're gonna have to sit there and thread on. So
I think it's considered a toolless.
Yes.
So like
you don't need any tools.
Even our Radian afterburner setup that we've got on my 47, you still have a set screw. So if you don't have that Torx bit with you, you're not getting this thing off. So to be able to have a gun and comp setup that you don't have to have any tools. We actually watched the guy from Shadow Systems take it apart, and he just banged it on the edge of a table. So as long as you got a table or something like that, you can take this gun apart. So really cool. I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but the other cool thing is that this gun, lengthwise, is the exact same as a standard like Glock 17 or Glock 47 in this case, without adding any length to it. So you've got the full, with a compensator about the same size as the Radian afterburner. It's still the same length as the standard gun. So that's really cool that they did that. I definitely would have liked to have done something like that because you are adding a good bit. You know, the Radians are small. And it's still adding, what is that, ½ inch onto the gun. So, it's nice that they were able to do that and make it so easy and to get off and all that. It's a very, very cool system they've got. Moving on to the actual frame, obviously you guys know this is going to be very similar to pretty much any frame that Shadow Systems has out right now. texturing in all the right spots. It's not super aggressive, but it's enough to get a good handle on the gun. It doesn't move around in your hands. They do have the 2 shelves that you've got for your thumb and just an index point, you know, for your trigger finger if your finger's off the trigger. Gun just shoots really well. We like Shadow Systems. I know there's some people out there that don't really care for them, but you know, this gun shot very well.
Yeah, like Connor was saying, one of my favorite things about Shadow Systems over, say, like a Glock, if we're just comparing those two, is the stippling. You know, they add a lot more texture to their frames, which I do appreciate. And they even add some texture to your mag release, which is also nice. And then, of course, this firearm comes with P mags. I do prefer Glock magazines, but I do realize, you know, that these typically work just fine. You don't really see many problems with those kind of magazines, but it'll take any 17-round Glock mag.
And it is worth mentioning, ours does, if you've noticed, it does have a Timney trigger in it right now.
Which is nice.
The standard gun does not come with that. So we don't want to give you guys any misinformation. It comes with the standard trigger. This one does have a Timney, so it was nice to be able to get some real quick shots with it.
Now the standard trigger is actually not that bad.
No, it's good.
It's a good trigger. I would say you can pretty much say it's almost the exact same as a Glock. If anything, maybe just a little bit better.
It's very similar.
Yeah, very similar to the Glock.
You're just at least getting more of a flat face with the standard, you know, Shadow Systems triggers. So
I guess the ultimate question is, you know.
Well, let them know real quick. We put some rounds through the gun.
Yes.
Was it reliable?
Oh yeah, 100% reliable. Which is also something that's really nice. Is when you go out and build a Glock or really any other firearm and you put on a compensator, you run into a little bit of, you might have to change your recoil spring and, you know, little things here and there to see if it's going to run reliably. And this one ran perfect, so no issues there.
I would say performance-wise, you know, we definitely shot it up against the Glock 47 with the Radiant Afterburner, and in my opinion, it performed just as good, if not possibly better, than this gun setup that we've got right now. You know, for it to be the same, I mean, like I said, all the work that they put into it is pretty much what I would want, and, you know, I know Joshua feels the same way. Out of a gun with a compensator, you know, it's instead of doing the ports, you still have that comp that you can easily take off, and all of that going into it, it still performed just as good, like I said, if not better than a Glock 47 with a comp on it. So very impressed with the performance that we got out of it. Now it comes down to, is it worth spending that much money on? So what do you think?
I think it definitely has its place. So if you're someone that's just wanting to get a compensated Glock, you can do that cheaper. You can. If you need to buy a Glock 19 so that you can kind of compensate for because most of your compensators are going to stick out quite a bit further than this one. And it doesn't really do much more as far as reducing recoil. It's just because of the thread-on design, that's what it kind of forces it to do, is stick out a little bit further than this design. So you can build one cheaper, but where the value in this is, in my opinion, is how compact it is while still having this. And so it's really nice to be able to still have a relatively long barrel for a handgun because it sticks out further than the slide. This slide's probably about the same length as a 19, but it's not stopping at the barrel length of a 19. It goes on just a little bit more, and then you have a compensator just making it the size of the 17. So there's a lot of value in how they're able to make it so compact while you know, allowing it to shoot so well. And once you start going so long with guns, it just kind of slows you down a little bit as far as, you know, getting it out of the holster. And so I think the Glock 17 size is a good size slide anyways. So I do think that this has a place in the marketplace.
I agree with Josh. I think what you said is actually perfect. You know, it's what matters to you the most. You can go like Joshua did. He has a Glock 45 that he went and bought a pretty good size comp.
And it's still longer than that.
And it's still longer than this. And that gun works fine. The comp works great. But it's a pretty big, bulky, you know, setup. Where if it's worth it to you, you do, you know, like we talked about, you get the slide vents, you get the cuts, everything that obviously adds value to the gun. But if you're a simple person and you want to keep things simple, you know, this comp system that they've got is so easy to use, and you can take your gun apart and clean it whenever you want without having to have special tools. It's just, does that matter more to you? than paying a little bit less and getting a little bit bigger setup and having to have tools for everything that when you're taking it apart. So
and we're stippling.
Right. I mean, I honestly think this gun is a decent value. I would like to see it lower, but I'd like to see a Glock cheaper. So, you know, it's just one of those things. But I think the value is there for someone that wants something like this. So, you know, again, we're very thankful to Franklin's for letting us do a review on this gun. If you guys have any questions about anything we talked about today, just let us know down in the comments section. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and always remember to chamber one.